been an astonishing turn in the case of the man from Aurora who was mistakenly released from prison decades early, lived free and clear for years, was then rearrested, and just ordered freed for good this week. Rene Lima Marin is now in the custody of Immigrations and Customs agents who years back had flagged him for deportation. Lima Marin's immigration status and his possible deportation were not known to the judge who freed him, the state legislators who rallied to his cause, or the public, which was implored to support his release. Lima Marin's advocates say that he was brought to this country as a child, fleeing Cuba. Cuban's special status in the U.S. meant that Lima Marin was not at risk for deportation until the point when he became a convicted felon in 2000. ICE flagged him for possible deportation at that time. The ruling this week by Judge Carlos Samor never mentioned Lima Marin's immigration status, and a court spokesman confirms to Next that the judge had no idea he was freeing a man right into the hands of ICE agents. Lima Marin's local attorney also appeared blindsided.
Did you guys know that this was going to happen, that this was going to be another step in the process, or did it come as a surprise to you as well?
I'm certainly devastated by what's happened, but we're going to be doing whatever we can to deal with this, and I'm sure we'll have more answers shortly.
Okay. Do you feel at all that the public that was asked to rally around Rene should have had this information?
I can't answer that at this point. I don't know.
Lima Marin's primary attorney, who is out of state, says that he didn't know about the immigration issue until today, but he also told us he didn't think it would be an issue. Those two statements don't seem to square. There was a bill in support of Lima Marin that had broad bipartisan support at the state legislature this year. We talked to two Democratic sponsors who said they didn't know that Lima Marin was flagged for deportation, but that wouldn't have changed their stance. We have not yet heard back from Republican sponsors. A well-known immigration attorney, Hans Meyer, is out within the last hour saying that if ICE will not free Lima Marin, then Governor Hickenlooper should pardon him. The governor's office says he'll consider that, acknowledging also that the possible deportation blindsided the governor today as well. So let's look big picture. After that splashy celebration on every news channel in town yesterday when Lima Marin was ordered set free, his case is now in totally different hands. There are two significant open questions. We have not yet heard from ICE. So will the Trump administration, which has promised to crack down on illegal immigration, be willing to grant leniency to a convicted felon? And will Governor Hickenlooper look less kindly on a pardon, considering that he's now being asked to fend off a possible deportation? I'd like to know when Colorado Mills Mall is going to reopen. You would like to know when Colorado Mills Mall is going to reopen. The people who depend on that mall for a paycheck would really like to know when it will reopen, which makes it so frustrating that the mall is not offering real answers. Perhaps you've seen the email that's floating around, reported on by other outlets. It looks kind of amateurish. There's no letterhead on it from the mall, no contact information. This email claims the mall is going to be closed till at least November due to the hail damage. Anastasia Bolton from our 9 Wants to Know team set out to verify what's true.
It was so weird. I thought it was fireworks because the ceiling started making so many noises, and then all of a sudden the water started dripping. All the water came inside the hallways of the mall, in our store, so it became to be a mess.
9 days ago, the Colorado Mills Mall shut down.
Everything is like damaged.
And for 9 days, Paola Amato, a manager of Elegance Perfumes, has been trying to figure out if she has a job here.
This is the most frustrating part of all. We have no idea.
9 days. And from the looks of it, some fixing is going on, but with no official update from the mall, tenants are asking each other and construction workers what's going on. That's how rumors get started.
The mall hasn't officially sent any letters or anything that says they're going to be open in November, nothing.
There is a letter. 9 News has a copy of it. It's addressed to the Colorado Mills tenants. It says the mall won't be open until November. There is no way to verify who wrote it, and the tenants we spoke with haven't received it. So we thought, how hard is it to check if the letter is legit? Apparently, impossible.
Hi, Ms. Hudson. My name is Anastasia Bolton.
We've called and emailed people who speak for them all. Nothing. We've been trying for 3 days.
They should have answers of, on how it works and what is the process from now on.
We're trying to get those answers, but the people who depend on this place for a paycheck can't and shouldn't wait.
We thought we could wait a month or two, but now if it's longer, that's why also we need to know, because we need to get our lives together, you know?
For Next, I'm Anastasia Bolton.
Paolo told us that some of the stores in the mall are transferring their people to work at other store locations. If anybody in charge of Colorado Mills Mall happens to be watching, you can reach us anytime. Email next@9news.com and we will pass along your verified information to the employees and the customers who are waiting for a straight answer. Here's our daily check-in on whether the governor has followed through on his threat to bring legislators back for a special session on transportation funding. Nope, no announcement today. Our look at the open drug use and drug dealing at Denver Central Public Library reached a new level last night with Jeremy Hahola's raw look inside the library's struggle to remain a place that is both open and safe. The 9 Wants to Know team took your feedback and thoughts to the office of the man who declined to speak with Jeremy, Mayor Hancock.
From people shooting up heroin, meth deals outside and inside the library.
Oh, okay. Meth?
Our undercover investigation highlighted skyrocketing crime right out in the open. Our analysis of dispatch records exposed a sharp increase in fights, assaults, drug use, and most alarmingly, overdoses.
Hundreds of you responded to our library investigation online and through that comment form. I'll read through some of them now. You have to walk through a gauntlet of dirty, delirious, loud, and cursing drug users. One day I picked up a syringe in the park by the art museum as school children played nearby. And the library should not allow anyone in without a library card and ID scan. So those are just some of your comments, and as we promised to you, I'm going to take all of them and personally deliver them to the mayor's office. So let's go ahead and do that right now. Hi there. I'm Jeremy Hahola with 9 News. Is Mayor Hancock in today?
He's not.
Eventually, a spokesperson came out and said the mayor's been away.
Is he available today, the mayor?
He's out of town.
He's out of town.
But we wanted to make sure he got your messages.
We hope the city will listen to our viewers. There's a lot of people who are upset about what they saw in our reporting.
Awesome. Well, I will absolutely make sure that he gets these.
Meanwhile, back at the library,
Hey, fellas. How's it going?
Good, how you doing?
Good.
we saw more people hanging out just outside the library doors where drug use is common.
Why is this a good place to hang out?
What, the library?
Yeah, why is the library attractive for you?
We like to read. Internet. We like to read.
Yeah, I like to read.
The city's Department of Public Safety tells us that police have been working directly with the library. From Jeremy's video, it's clear that whatever work they have been doing is not enough. So this story and the questions will continue. There's a letter going around to parents of students in some local school districts warning them about a show. Chances are you've heard of 13 Reasons Why. If you have, then you know why Denver, Dougco, and Jeffco schools are concerned. 13 Reasons Why illustrates the 13 reasons a teenager decided to take her own life. School districts are among those concerned that the show could actually make things worse for someone who's thinking about suicide. We talked to a crisis specialist who thinks that the idea of the show is worthwhile, but has concerns about how its message is delivered.
I think it was a wonderful intent to bring up that topic. However, I'm really concerned in the way that it was handled, and that's why I say repeatedly to friends and family, talk to your kids, talk to your students. This conversation needed to be had, but the door was left open with way too many questions from that show.
Denver teaches the signs of suicide across the district to 6th and 9th graders. Other districts have their own suicide prevention programs. Dr. Max Wachtel agrees the show could have a negative effect.
It's almost like the exact opposite of sending your kid to therapy. It's like sending your kid to, into the lion's den to try and fend for him or herself.
13 Reasons Why was a book before it was a show. Should acknowledge that book is available to be checked out by some Denver middle and high schoolers at their school libraries. May I make a recommendation? Point you towards something that is not our own work, but is certainly worth your time. And for this, you'll need 20 minutes. But in return, The Atlantic will deliver the single most moving piece that I've read in months. My Family's Slave was written by Alex Tizon. He grew up with a woman named Lola. She helped his parents raise him and his siblings. It seemed normal until he realized that it wasn't, that his parents didn't pay Lola to clean or to make their beds or cook dinner for the family every night. She was a slave who came to the United States from the Philippines with his parents. Lola was given to his mother as a gift. The article flips back and forth between what Alex witnessed growing up with Lola and then his quest to bring her ashes back to her hometown in the Philippines. This is a remarkable piece of journalism. I encourage you to take the time to read it tonight. There's a link on the next Facebook page. Big change in the weather coming. You know what they say on TV. Cover your tender vegetation. A new statue in Denver that likely means more to those who it represents than those just walking by. And an update about a principal that you so often ask us about as she continues her mission to walk again.
Protect your plants, people. I know I told you it was safe to put them out after Mother's Day, but we were wrong. This storm coming in has cold air with it, and you're going to lose those plants if you don't cover them and protect them Thursday night and Friday. I know, hard to believe there's a storm coming with snow in the forecast after a day with highs in the 70s, but here we go. We're in between two storms, one producing severe weather in the Midwest, the other a low dropping out of the northern Rockies that is sliding into western Colorado, where we will be measuring the snow in feet above 7,000 feet. Here in the metro area, rain tonight, mixing with snow tomorrow, about 2 to 5 inches of snow that'll quickly melt and compact. But further west you go, higher up in elevations, can be a whole different story, and travel will definitely be impacted by the storm starting late tonight on the I-70 corridor. This storm is going to bring in some good moisture for our state, and in a drought year, we definitely do need it. All the snow stays west of the Continental Divide tonight. That snow moves into the foothill areas tomorrow morning and into Denver about 24 hours from now. It's a warm storm, and the surface and air temperatures are warm, but you're still going to see some flakes. 38 tonight with rain showers, and tomorrow's when things start to change for us. Highs in the lower 40s, so about 30 degrees cooler than what we would expect for this time of year. Rain and snow showers ending late Friday with lows in the 20s. Good looking weekend forecast. 58 Saturday, mid 60s on Sunday. A little bit of rain up in the Fort Collins and Greeley area, but it has been all snow. So pretty up at the Loveland Ski Resort. Kyle.
Our next question comes from a viewer named Kelly. Hey, Kyle, I've been hoping you'd do a follow-up story about the paralyzed principal from Littleton. How's she doing? Kelly, our Steve Steger has your answer.
So for those of you who haven't heard her story, Allison Mallory is the principal at Ralph Moody Elementary in Littleton. She was snowboarding back on December 23rd and hit a jump the wrong way. She told me when she hit the ground, she knew she was paralyzed immediately, and she just accepted it. She's determined to walk again, and she is well on her way. We're catching up with Allison Mallory in the last place we left her.
I'm doing great.
On a machine at the gym inside Craig Hospital. She's standing about 20 feet away from where we talked to her last time.
I'm home now. I come to Craig about 6 days a week.
But she's come a lot further than 20 feet.
I've just started going back to work last month.
She's back in the principal's office of Ralph Moody Elementary, snapping a picture with her staff on the first day back. It's only a couple days a week, but still, it was a goal to return to work before the end of the school year.
I've always been goal-oriented, so that's not something that's going to change.
She's come a long way since we last talked. Even made it back to Keystone, near the spot where the accident happened, to meet with the ski patrollers and the nurse who helped her the hour before she was taken to the hospital.
It was really beneficial for me to go back and cathartic.
A break from the hard work of healing. Those 6 days Allison spends here at Craig can be rather grueling. Take today, for example. She spent an hour on that machine in the gym at Craig, and she'll be back for 2 hours of physical therapy later this afternoon. But first, another stop.
Being back at CrossFit just makes me feel like my old self.
She's here a few days a week, too.
Working out is really a great stress reliever, but it also helps me find that inner athlete.
It's taken a lot of inspiration to get this far, and perhaps her story might inspire you.
If a girl in a wheelchair can come to CrossFit, so can you.
One of Allison's goals is to do adaptive skiing. She's planning on trying that out next season. In the meantime, she has a trip planned to Costa Rica this summer, where she'll do a little snorkeling with the help of an adaptive adventure program.
Man, one life adventure after another. Thank you, Steve. At first glance, it could be any homeless man asleep on a bench, until you realize we all know this man. And bikes get a bit more room to move in one part of Denver. It's a statue that invites you to walk by without noticing. Or perhaps you notice it, but you subconsciously choose to look away because you didn't realize it was a statue. You thought it was a homeless man sleeping on a bench. Photojournalist Tom Cole chose to stop and to notice what's outside Father Woody's Haven of Hope in Denver.
Being homeless is not fun like camping. There are a lot of challenges out here. You know, I've never had a lot of personal friends, so I sleep outdoors.
We serve about 600 to 700 a day. This is a homeless day shelter. It's by accident I happened to see on the internet a couple of years back where the Pope was blessing this sculpture that was done by an artist in Ontario, Canada. As soon as I saw it, I said, we got to have this.
To see Christ in the same position that many of us find ourselves in is a very powerful thing indeed.
The sculpture wanted people to recognize that Jesus is their neighbor. It's the only one in Denver. He will not put more than one in the city. He'd rather have 3 in 3 cities than 3 in 1 city.
What could be more powerful than a man that we hold in such high esteem, sharing, quote unquote, our experience? It's a very powerful symbol.
I think this is where it belongs.
Most of who I am, I owe to others, including that young man to a certain degree.
The statue cost $35,000. It was paid for by an anonymous donor. There are 55 of those homeless Jesus statues around the world, and there's another one going out to be placed every 8 months or so. Last night's story about a rare Steinway piano, one of 5, that's being restored in Denver, caused a few of you to do a double take as the technician talked about installing a new set of ivory keys. A couple of you said, isn't buying and selling ivory banned these days? And Marshall Luke, the piano restorer, acknowledged that is a fair question. He says that he bought the ivory a few years ago, prior to the Obama administration's ban on sales last year. Under the pre-existing rules, you simply had to be able to prove that the ivory was harvested long ago and hadn't recently been brought into the U.S., and he was able to do that. If you live in Denver's North Cap Hill neighborhood or near Uptown, the roads near your house may be a-changin'. Denver Public Works has a new project in the works. If it gets approved by City Council, here's what's happening. 19th and 20th Avenues between Broadway and Park Avenue West will change from one way into 2 ways. So will Grant and Logan between 18th and 20th. On top of all the changing traffic patterns, bike lanes will be added on 19th and 20th Avenue. So here's your reminder. If you drive through that part of town, keep your head on a swivel once this work is done. Be safe. It's quite the project, $3 million all told. It'll pop up before council in the next few weeks, and they're hoping to have construction done by the fall. Your feedback brings us home as always next. Steve Bobrick writes tonight, are you feeling well? You wore a white shirt and a sport coat the other day. Tonight, a nice shirt, everything matches. Are you becoming part of the establishment? Never, Steve. Lori Jackson writes, our only misgiving about next is that it's not an hour. Well, that's very kind of you, Lori, but this isn't. Jennifer Shipper on Facebook says, who did your makeup tonight? Fire them. All right, I'm fired. Not sure who's going to be here next time.